Okay, so I was just wanting to do a Sangoon guide real quick because a couple people have been asking about doing a C7 Sangoon on Succ Nova. So thought I'd just show it. Uh, the main thing to note is that you don't actually need that much stuff. I have Behind the Shadows up, but I used to run just standard health artifacts with health light crystals as well, and that worked perfectly fine. Um, this is my crystal setup. I basically just take any back attack I can, and then after that, just health. The one absorption's not really sure if it's noticeable, but this has worked, so I've never changed it. The rest is just standard Kaposhas, Tavala, a Kaya necklace for more back attack damage. I've tried it with both. Doesn't really make much of a difference. It can be nice, uh, especially for the final burn phase. But yeah, so that should be all of the gear. I don't really run any buffs. It's basically just an exquisite cron meal and destruction spirit stone. Whenever this gets full, I usually just throw them out. So yeah, we'll get into the fight. Okay, so there's gonna be a little bit of a jump in between two of the clips, just because I was talking about something called a standard combo. Um, I don't main Succ Nova. I'm not professional PV on it, so I don't know the most optimal DPS rotation. But the rotation that I've done for Sangoon has been very nice because everything that I do during the fight is done in pairs. So if anything goes wrong, I have like a nice break point between each thing. Throughout the clip, I'll be calling it like a standard combo that I go for. And I'm going to demonstrate it. Uh, I'll just demonstrate it slowly and then I'll write it out on the screen and hopefully um, it's fine. Actually, I could just write it in the description and that'll probably be cleaner to see. So the first pairing at the very beginning is SF into s+RMB. The second pairing is shift+RMB into RMB. The third is if you're in block, so you have to be in block. If you're not in block, this I can press F as much as I want and it won't come out. So when you're in block, F, you just hold F and it'll do the F and the flow. Um, and then the final part is shift+Q into shift+C. So that's the standard rotation for the first part, which is going to just be, I'll wait for the cooldowns and then I'll just do it real quickly all the way through. It'll be SF into s+RMB, shift+RMB into holding F, shift+Q into shift+C. And as you can see at the bottom of my screen, I have it laid out so it's like 1, 2, 3, 4, and then 5, 6, 7, 8. And it just helps visually see it. So if you ever paying attention during the fight, you can see which part I'm doing down there. Um, Once you go through the standard combo once, uh, if you need to do a full sequence again, shift+Q and shift+C are not going to be off cooldown. So we're going to do the same first part with the first three pairs, but instead we're going to end in E and shift+E this time. So it'll be SF, s+RMB, shift+RMBs, Fs, and then we go into E and shift+E. One thing to note is that you should be careful. Um, in most cases, you could just do the E and not the shift+E, um, because the E is nice since you can cancel out of it at any point. But if you get past the first part of shift+E, you cannot cancel out of it with an iframe. So there will be points, depending on your DPS, where you're going to be locked into shift+E and he might do an enrage attack, and then you just die. So you could just leave that out if it's not lining up correctly with your DPS. So yeah, with that, I'll let it carry to the next part. Okay, let's open up Sangoon and start the fight. So, at the beginning of the fight, sometimes you're going to get stunned, sometimes you're not. It does not really matter or affect anything because for Calamity 7, he doesn't take any damage until he does his first disappearing away. So, it's just a lot of waiting. I'll go into boss camera mode just because it feels nicer for the fight to me if you don't have to do it. Um, So here I blocked and then did SE to get the gargoyle out. I'm going to s+RMB just to get health because it's a low cooldown. Waiting for the teleport. He appears on the left side every time he does the spine chill. And then I'm going to do my standard combo into just one more s+RMB. Go behind him, and I'm going to do F into E and shift E just to waste some time. Go back here, s+RMB just to keep up my add-ons. Into another, just finishing the standard rotation. And he spins around. And so this entire sequence, you can see it's just him spinning around, me going behind him. After he disappears, and I'll do spine chill again. Appears on my left. Do the standard rotation. I'm going to do one more s+RMB, go behind, into F, E, shift E like before. Then it'll be 103, and he'll teleport away, and we go to our waiting position. He's going to drop here, and we're just going to do the standard rotation one more time. After the shift+C, he should be activated. Let me just go back. I do shift+S into SC. Wait for the enrage, and iframe it, and then he's going to do another spine chill, so I'm just positioning him in the middle. If you don't get the DPS perfect, he won't do the enrage here. He'll do it after this spine chill, but it should not affect anything. It's just here you wouldn't do the shift+E because you're expecting him to enrage, and you don't want to be locked into anything. So sometimes he acts weird, and it'll just like move around. So I'm just going to go behind him to force him to do a jump back by going behind him after he flips. And that'll let me do the standard rotation on him. We've got the I shall kill phase. So we go behind one of the big rocks and wait. You can see in the bottom left, I got the defense buff. Once it goes red, I'm going to start the iframe so that I can just DPS him during this phase. Because I have the buff, it doesn't matter. If you do enough damage, just like in a standard rotation, he can do the enrage at that point if you pushed him below 50%. And if not, he'll do it here. I got it here just because I'm demonstrating stuff, so it's a bit slow. Now he's going to jump, and he's going to land here. This is just normal stuff. He's going to do this one. You just iframe this one so you don't get slowed. Made him jump around, so I'm going to go behind him so that he does a cone attack. That lets me do standard rotation. Okay. So he walked backwards, which means he's going to appear on the opposite side of the screen in the sky. We just go around, back. Don't do too much animation lock stuff like a shift+C here because you don't want to get CC'd when he spins around. Okay, so now we're in the DPS phase, the 40% DPS phase. So I'm going to jump behind him, and I'm going to stand right here. And you can see because I stood right there, he spun around and let me do just a standard rotation to the back. That's one way that you can keep him centered. If you're a little bit too far, though, he won't do the jump, and he'll just do the cone attack. If that happens, you can just iframe away, and it's fine. So I'm going to do it by here again. Okay. Just going to waste some time. We have all the time in the world. As long as the 40% phase is when this rock starts, and then we have until he hits 20% before we have to actually worry about DPS. So I'm going behind, got to make him spin. So we can go way back here and go behind him to force the fan attack, but you risk getting hit by the outer rings. So usually if he does that, you just iframe in the center so you don't have to worry about anything. To explain for these rocks that are happening on the outer side, once the rocks phase starts where he spun around, it's going to do 3 rocks on the outside. So he's going to do the cone attack. Okay. So it's going to do 3 rocks on the outside and then 1 on the inside. And it does that on repeat all the way until the very end. 3 on the outside, 1 on the inside. So I'm just going to go back to normal. He's going to leap around. I iframe behind, and I just get DPS. Not going to risk anything because the rock's dropping in the middle. Trying to make sure that I demonstrated every pattern that could possibly happen. See if he goes there, we're chilling. We just wait for him to go back. If we make enough distance, he'll jump in the air, we can get a reset. I could go to the edge of the ring right here and also force a leap if I want to keep him in the center when the ring's like that. Try and show it again. Okay. So if I stand here, see how he goes to there. and that just keeps him centered. And then I'm trying to push him as low as possible when I know he's going to 20%. So now I'm starting the 20% burn phase at 15%. I pop my E buff to give myself a timer because you have 40 seconds to clear the fight, and I now have a 30-second timer, so I know when I have 10 seconds remaining. Even though you only have 40 seconds, you have more than enough DPS, so you can kind of play it safe and don't have to get hit by these rocks. If there's some left over, it doesn't matter. But as you can see, it was pretty clean, even with me just playing slowly, dodging, doing standard rotation. If there's a rock in the way, I just avoid it and just carry on where I was in the loop. If you have to dodge too much, you might want to start it with the F pair where you're in block and you just press F twice or hold it, because you want to keep that buff up as much as possible, especially when you're doing the DPS burn phase. Um, but yeah, that should be everything. If there's anything I missed, you can ask in the comments and I'll try to answer it. Um, as I said before, I'll put the combo in the description, and any other info that I forgot about, I'll try to add to the description. So if you have questions, be sure to let me know. Thanks for watching.